We're going to look at the emergency response guide, which is available inside CBRN-Analysis, and we can use the guide in two different ways. We can use it as a reference document to look up various bits of information that's associated with toxic industrial material, or we can use it in calculations. So if we click on to documentation that's on the menu bar, click onto there, we can then go down to industrial. Click onto industrial, we can then open up the emergency response guidebook, or we can go to this icon here, exactly the same, click onto there, and it will then open up the emergency response guide. As a database, all the information that's associated with the emergency response guide is situated here. All the different toxic industrial materials are indicated. We're also indicating what is known as the green pages, so some materials are highlighted in green. They are then shown in green inside the database. So all the toxic materials are there under index. Also we have a guide. The guides that we have, there are multiple guides, but a lot of the guides can be associated with the same material. So you will see repetition of guides with the same type of materials. And then depending on which type of material we do select, then we can have certain distances. We can have very minimal information. In some cases we'll only have the public safety distance. It could be 50 meters, it could be 100 meters, or in other cases, depending on what we select. So if we go, let's say, ammonia, have a look at those, we see we've got a lot more information that's available to us. And as operators, we know that we can have a small spill, a large spill, and obviously on fire. And depending on the stability and the time, we can have that release happen during the day or at night. So all that information is contained within distances. What we can also do is, looking at the emergency response guide, we can, like I said, use it as reference material, because the actual emergency response guide is situated here. If we click onto this icon for the PDF reader, so again we do need a PDF reader application, and we can then look at the ERG and look at all the material or information that's associated within the ERG if we want to look it up as reference material. So we can close that down. You'll notice on this demonstration I am using the Emergency Response Guide 2012. We know that the Emergency Response Guide is published every 4 years. For this particular version, though, if I just go cancel for now, if we go to File on the menu bar, down to Properties, then into Setup. Then if we go into Calculations, open up Calculations, and then down to Chem23, here we have the ERG and the database version that we're using. So for this particular version of CBRN-Analysis, we do have an overlap where we can either use the 2012 or the 2016. It's entirely up to what our procedures are going to be and which guide we wish to use. I'm just going to stick with the 2012 guide just for the purposes of this demonstration. So let's go cancel on that. We're sticking with the 2012. Like I said, we can use it as reference material by clicking onto the shortcut icon here or using documentation, or we can use it as part of the calculations. So obviously we need to make a report, so we're going to make a CBRN1, and what we're going to say is we've had information telling us that there's been a release of some chemicals from a building in a farm complex or something like that. We'll just take it from this building here. And what we'll do is we'll right click and we'll copy that particular grid, so we do get that grid. Then we'll go to the CBRN1 and we're going to create a CBRN1. We can either click onto the icon here or press insert onto the keyboard. It's entirely up to us which way we want to do it. So I'm just going to close this CBRN reports database down so that you can go back to the map and see the map, and then we'll just run the report directly from here so you can see the map in the background. I'm going to delete that and then go Control V and place the grid in so the observer and the location of the incident is at the same place. I'll just select the current time, we'll place that in. Under location we will say it's actual, and then we'll just fill out, we'll say it's observed, we'll go for generic storage containers, and we will make it a small spill and onto the surface. Now this is where we need to use the emergency response guide. If we know the number, we can place the number in, because that's what needs to go into the second field on the India line. We need to place the number in. If we just know the name of the material, we need to get the number, the ID number of that material into there, then we can click on to the database that's situated as a shortcut icon onto the report. So we can click onto here. We can then type out the information here if we know the name of the material. There is one slight issue we need to be aware of. If we're going to type the name of the material in, it does need to be spelled correctly. There is no spell checker inside the database, so you need to get the exact correct name placed in. Or you might know the ID number and you just want to select it from up here. So let's just go 1005, ask it to find that. It's ammonia. We're going to select the one that's in the green page, that one there. And then we're going to add that information into the report. What that will then do is take the material name and place it in. So that is an important task that you should do as an operator. Make sure you do tick that so that it does place and generate the material name inside the report. Another small item that operators don't normally look at is, please be aware that if we had a warfare agent, chemical warfare agent, and it's small up to 2 kilograms or large up to 25 kilograms set in Gulf, then those agents are indicated here as to what they are as part of a small device. So again, please be aware of that, and that's tied in with the ATP 45 as well. So for this particular one, we've decided ammonia. We've clicked in there, we go OK. It's then placed the number in there and then given us the material down the bottom here. We'll say for this particular demonstration it is a continuous flow. Placing continuous, and we'll go OK. We will then calculate update, and then we've got a template. If we wanted to use checklists, we could use checklists, but we won't bother for this particular demonstration. So there is our template. We can then move on, warn, whatever we need to do. We can then go to the CBRN2 if we want to go to the CBRN2. Click onto the CBRN2, open up the CBRN2, give it an incident serial number. I'll just place something in, take that out. If we wanted to place gen text in, we can place gen text in. Again, we can place some information in. What we could also do, if we wanted to, we could go back to the ERG. We do have the guide. We could, if we wanted, extract some of the information from the guide. We can highlight that information depending on what information we want to select. Now if we right click using the cursor, we won't get any copy and paste from there. Everything has to be done from the keyboard. So we'd have to go Control C, then go OK, go to Notes, Control V. We can paste it in, either in Notes for our own use, or we can go to Attachments and place it in as attachment so it goes as part of the report. So we can use the emergency response guide to extract information out as well. So I can now approve the CBRN2, calculate to update, go back to the map, and there we have the use of the emergency response guidebook, either as reference material, just by clicking on and having a look at the information there, or it being used as part of a calculation inside a report.